Hello children, let us start with the second part of this chapter where we use the properties of the quadrilateral. Okay, so let me present the information in the most compact form so that it becomes easier for you to memorize. Okay, now quadrilaterals are divided into two categories: non-parallelograms and parallelograms. This part is more important for us because most of the quadrilaterals which we are going to study in future, you need this information in the 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th. So this is a very important information and I expect all to memorize, learn this information. So quadrilaterals are divided into two categories: parallelograms and non-parallelograms. Non-parallelograms quadrilaterals are divided into further two types: kite and trapezium. Okay. So for the kite, the property is the longer diagonal is the perpendicular bisector of the smaller diagonal. Okay. Longer diagonal is the perpendicular bisector of the smaller diagonal. I have written here, longer diagonal is perpendicular bisector of smaller diagonal. For trapezium, only we learn the formula of area, which we are going to discuss in another schedule, another chapter. Okay. So trapezium also has one property, but right now we will not discuss that. Okay. Then this is important: parallelograms. Parallelogram looks like this. This is a trapezium. This is a parallelogram. And there are three common properties of all the parallelograms. Parallelograms are also further divided, and these three properties are fulfilled by all types of parallelograms. What are the properties? Opposite sides are congruent. Opposite angles are congruent, and diagonals bisect each other. These diagonals, they will bisect each other. Okay, so these are the three properties which will be present in all other parallelograms. Okay, now the parallelograms are further divided into three types: rectangle, square and rhombus. A rectangle, it is a parallelogram. Square, it is a parallelogram. Rhombus, it is also a parallelogram. Opposite sides are parallel in all these three quadrilaterals also. Now we learn three important properties about their diagonals. Okay, diagonal of any quadrilateral, rather diagonals of any quadrilateral, they play important role in future mathematics. Okay, so what are the properties of diagonal? First I'll focus on square. The diagonals of a square are congruent and perpendicular to each other. These are the diagonals of a square. They are congruent. Moreover, there is a right angle between the diagonals. They are perpendicular to each other. Now, once you memorize this left hand side property will go to the rectangle. Diagonals are congruent. And the right hand side property, perpendicular, will go to the rhombus. In the rhombus, the diagonals are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so very easy to memorize. So if I learn the properties of quadrilaterals individually, then I'll have to learn for parallelogram three properties. For rectangle, these three plus this, that means four properties here. So rectangle 4. For square, these three properties plus these, so 5 properties here. These 3 plus this, so 4 properties here and 3 here. So if you try to memorize the properties independently, then 3 plus 4, 7, 7 plus 5, 12, 12 plus 4. 16 properties you will have to learn for different quadrilaterals. But there is no need. Only you have to memorize 4 lines. Which 4 lines? These 3, which are very easy to memorize. Opposite sides congruent. opposite angles congruent, diagonals bisect each other, and this, that in a square the diagonals are congruent and perpendicular. Congruence goes to rectangle, perpendicularity goes to rhombus. That's all. So you will memorize all the properties of any quadrilateral. Okay? These properties, if you memorize, well and good. If you don't memorize, they are rarely required. So you can put them in the risk zone. But for a good student, for an intelligent student, I'll say they should learn every information. Now, one extra property of the trapezium, I will just quote. These two are parallel sides. These two are non-parallel sides. The segment joining the midpoints of non-parallel sides is called as median, and the median is equal to half the sum of the parallel sides. So P1 plus P2. This is the extra property that we are going to study in detail in the 9th standard. Okay, P1 means first parallel sides, P2 means second parallel side. So median, this is the median, segment joining midpoints of non-parallel sides is called as the median of the trapezium, and the length of the median is half the sum of the parallel sides. Okay, this is the extra property. So with that we have completed full quadrilaterals. Quadrilaterals are divided into parallelograms, non-parallelograms. Non-parallelograms are of two types, kite and trapezium. Properties of kite and properties of trapezium we have discussed. More important are parallelograms, because you are going to discuss most of the things related to parallelograms only. These are the three properties. They are further divided into rectangle, square and rhombus. If you learn the properties of square, congruent and perpendicular, congruence goes to rectangle, that means diagonals of rectangle are congruent, and perpendicularity goes to rhombus, diagonals of rhombus are perpendicular to each other. Okay, so like that you can memorize the full chapter in this chart. Okay, I will send you this chart online. Thank you, children.